One of the key problems is that no one really knows what's happening in the remote IT locations. By the fact that they're remote. So currently, the only way to find out is to tie up resources by having them drive or fly to those remote IT locations. And look, those locations can be hundreds of miles away in some cases as well. So clearly that approach isn't going to scale, and being able to scale is critical because remote IT locations are actually growing rapidly. IDC in a report said that 298,000 remote IT or edge locations will be built in 2023. And that's on top of the 289,000 that were expected to be built last year. So if you put that into context, it's 24,000 new remote IT locations per month that will need to be monitored and managed. And it's a growing problem, and it's just not possible to throw more people at it. So finding ways to solve that problem with smart, scalable solutions is important. Yeah, look, organizations are in the dark when it comes to knowing what's actually happening inside the remote IT locations. And while it's the teams responsible for managing the remote IT locations that feel the pain of resolving the problems or the issues or the pain of trying to monitor these locations remotely, the real pain is felt by the business when there's downtime at those remote IT locations. So as an example, for healthcare, that could prevent access to patient records. Or for banking and finance, it could be issues at remote IT locations that prevent them from financing loans or opening new accounts. For retail, it could prevent store sales. And for manufacturing, it could bring down whole production lines and stop production. Look, we hear many horror stories about remote IT locations. Some like the time of UPS, which is a power supply, was unplugged because someone working at that location didn't like the beeping. Or when remote OT locations are used in ways they shouldn't, often they become unofficial storage areas. Or one story that we heard, a personal gym. So in that story, the IT team couldn't explain why there was frequent power disruptions that came and went quickly at one location. And they spent weeks trying to find out what was going on. And what they eventually discovered was that there was one employee at that location that was using the room as their personal workout space. And they placed their mats against power cables. And every time they moved, the mat would pull on the power cables and cause power issues. So, as the number of remote IT locations grows and as unnecessary access and use of those rooms increases, so does the number of issues. And without being able to, without being able to be there 24/7, no one really knows what's happening in those locations. So real-time visibility and monitoring are critical. Realistically, the common approach today is to hope everything will be okay. Suffer through the problems, throw more people at it, more time, more money. But as we know, hope is not a strategy, and budgets aren't bottomless. So something else needs to be done. And the good news is that there is an easy solution that anyone can put in place today. Instead of suffering through the issues, recruiting more people, or doing periodic visits to remote IT locations, we suggest that everyone gets real-time visibility into what's happening at each of those sites, each of those locations, to give their teams the ability to monitor remote IT locations on their computer and mobile device from the comfort of their desk chair without ever having to go anywhere. And that's exactly why we built Sentry. Sentry sheds light on otherwise dark remote IT locations, and it provides visibility that is better than actually being there. Sentry itself immediately solves the issue of not being able to see what's happening at remote IT locations. And it's different because it's an all-in-one solution that combines real-time video with motion, temperature, and humidity monitoring and alerting. So what that means is Sentry puts real-time visibility of remote IT locations in easy reach with access from a web browser or a mobile app for anyone that needs to monitor those sites. And it's different because we've made it super easy. It's easier than any other solution out there because it can be set up by one person without the need for electrical or other skilled contractors. We brought the easy consumer style setup experience to an enterprise grade product. And because of that, it's possible to be up and running in 20 minutes or less for one site. Imagine being able to see in real time what is happening in all remote IT locations without ever leaving your chair, your office, home or otherwise. That's the smarter way to operate. And with Sentry, it's just as easy to monitor hundreds of sites as it is to monitor one. And that's because of smart alerting, which makes life much easier. The alerts that we have show you exactly where attention is needed and only when it's needed. So it cuts out the noise and it makes it easier for people to focus on where help is needed or where the issues are. So before sending someone to a remote IT location, teams can review live and historic video, motion, temperature, and humidity to understand the situation and make a better, faster informed decision on what action to take, whether to go out there, whether to send a contractor, or whether nothing is required because it was a small problem. That the abundance of remote IT locations and the growth is posing a new security risk. So adding real-time visibility is a critical step to boost security, and an easy one. And no one should leave it to chance, because chance is for gamblers, not world-class IT teams. Look, with Sentry, taking action towards sustainability for those sites, one or many, is easy. And look, the obvious first benefit is not needing to travel so often. So, not getting in a car, not getting on a plane, obviously that cuts energy usage and carbon footprint too. I mean, if we're thinking about it from that perspective. But the big sustainability boosts come from the ability to optimize energy use at each location by cooling the room to the optimum temperature. Today, without that, common practice is to overcool remote locations, either as a precaution or out of an abundance of caution. That's because temperature isn't or can't be effectively monitored. But by monitoring temperature with Sentry, the optimum temperature can be maintained, which boosts sustainability and also cuts energy costs. It's a big win all around. We've actually set up an online store for self-service purchase, and we've had people buy them on their own already because it's a low price point. It's something that people can actually purchase with a credit card, a corporate credit card, and stay under limits, right? Generally in the larger enterprises that have enough remote IT locations to care, and even the smaller ones that maybe aren't as big. The credit card spend limits are generous. Sometimes it's 5-10 grand they can go out there and spend without having to go through approval process.